All right. So what we are going to do today, we will start with Python programming. I know that you must have gone through the curriculum. So first topic for us is going to be Python programming, and we'll try to understand why Python, how Python works, and all those things we are going to discuss. So if you talk about specifically with respect to Python, the reason why we choose Python, and some of you already know this, and if not, then data science is something that you can do with a lot of other tools, also a lot of other programming languages as well. But the reason why we are going with Python, there are multiple reasons, but I'll quickly highlight some of the important reasons here. If you talk about when we start working on the Python, right? The way that we will write Python, it is much similar to how we communicate in English language, the syntax. For example, if you have to write a first program in C language, if you have to write your first program in Java, it will be much difficult. There will be a lot of prerequisites that will be kind of needed before you can actually start writing that program. But when it comes to Python, Python is a high level language. So that means the code that you are going to write, it will be much simpler and you will be easily able to communicate. The second important thing, the libraries, which is the most important reason, and the community that Python has. So all the important libraries that you see, which are related to whether it is your data analysis, whether it is related to your machine learning, whether it is your deep learning, Gen AI, and all these new fancy stuff which is coming every day. So all the libraries that are actually available, the huge set of libraries are actually available with respect to Python. And that's a very important reason why it is becoming so popular nowadays. So it's a high level language. It is interpreter based language. That means every execution that is going to happen line by line. So if I'm writing 10 lines of code, it'll execute one by one. And each line, if there is an error, it'll point me. There is an error in the first line of my code. And then I can go back and fix that particular line. And then I can move ahead. So the debugging part, which is most critical when it comes to writing program, it becomes much easier when we are working with Python, and it also gives you the support for the OOPS concept, which we will discuss as we proceed ahead. OOPS is also a very important concept when we talk about writing the organizational level code, the production grade code. So OOPS become very important. So it also support OOPS that you can define classes. Again, I'm repeating, this might sound technical, this OOPS part, but as we proceed ahead, we will discuss what all these things are. So that is a quick introduction with respect to Python and the setup and all. We will not need much setup for getting started with Python. We are not going to do any local installation where you have to download something, install something. What we are going to use is Google Colab. So what all of you need to follow is just go on Google and just search for Google Colab. So you can do it along with me if that works. Just 1 second. Let me do it one more time. You can go to Google, google.com, and then over there, just type for Google Colab. Okay, and then you can click on the first link, which is welcome to Colab. So basically, why are we using Colab? Because it's an interactive environment. When we are going to write the code, we don't have to save the file. We don't have to go anywhere and then pick up that file from a location and then run it. In the Colab environment itself, as you write the code, you can run the code then and there itself. So you don't have to basically go anywhere else. Okay, that. So just 1 second.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Mhm.
Can you little bit zoom your screen because
Sure.
it's showing the font is very low here. That's it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay. I hope it's better now.
Yeah, it's better.
All right. So let's click on welcome to Collab. So I hope you are on the same screen, which I am right now. Right. So what you need to do, you need to click on new notebook. So this is the notebook environment which we are going to use for writing our first Python code. Right. Let me close this. Let me zoom in a
Where
little
did you
bit.
click for the new notebook again?
Let me show you one more time. There was a button at the bottom, left bottom corner. Just,
Oh, I see it. Okay. Never mind.
yeah, I think it was a blue color button
Yes.
over here, your notebook. And this will create your notebook. So, I mean, for your, just one sec. For the manageability perspective, for managing these files, what you can do, you can give these files different names, like maybe how you want to prefer it, maybe class one, intro to Python, so that later on, whenever you have to refer to these files, you can. If you want to create some folders over here, you can do that. So all those things are totally possible so that it becomes easier. And it's not like you're not saving it on your local machine. That maybe sometime you lose your machine, something happened, so you always have your Google account, because you need to have Google account in order to access this. So everything is going to be saved in the Google Drive. So in case something happened, you still have access to all these notebooks that you have created. All right, so this is where you can actually find the details. If you click on this button, files, you'll be able to list out all the files that are basically there. And then you can create the file. If you want to create a new file, then you can click over here, new notebook. And if you want to rename this file, either you can click on it, or you can just simply go here and click on rename. So when we generally talk about Python files, so the Python file format is py format, .py. But when we talk about the notebooks, the one that you will use generally for the data science for analysis purpose, they will be having this format. I hope you are able to see this IPYNB format. So this is nothing but interactive Python notebook. So because in programming, what happens when you write a code, you have to save that code and then you have to run it through the interpreter. Or in other compiler-based languages, you have to run it through the compiler. But when we talk about the notebooks, when I'm going to write my code, I can run the code in the same environment itself. I can also create my notes as well. If I want to create a note, for example, let's say if I click on this text plus button, then I can start creating my note. This is my first program, something like this. I can create. This is using the markdown language. So if you use a hash, then it will be like a H1 heading. And if you keep on adding these hashes, then the headings will go kind of down. So basically the point that I'm trying to make here, you can make notes over here if you want. That this is where I am learning about Python. Because some of you, might be uh, having this habit of writing everything down on a notebook, and some of you might find it easier to do everything on the laptop itself. So you don't have to manage two separate files for it. If you are comfortable with the laptop, you can write your notes within the notebook environment itself. And if you're comfortable writing your notes on the notebook, that approach also works. You can create your notes and then you can save everything there itself. All right. So I hope that makes sense. Are we good so far? Shall we move ahead? Everybody's on the same page?
Yep.
Okay. So now what we...
Nitish,
Mhm.
so we will use this notebook-like environment where we are going to write the code, we're going to execute the code, all of that will stay just here. So
Yeah,
as we go through the class, so what I'm doing is I've named this file class one so that I intend on, kind of making a documentary of like class one, class two, class three type of thing. So then we always, know how we're keeping up with the class, and if we want to go back to any basics or anything like that, we already have it within
right,
this space.
right,
Okay.
right. Absolutely. Okay, so let me just infuse you with few things that you need to be aware of. If you want to execute your code, whatever code we are going to write, if you want to execute that code, what you will have to use, you have to use Shift plus Enter in order to execute your code. if you want to, if you will use this, I know some of you might be aware about this, but just for everyone's understanding, just to make sure
Wait,
everyone is on the same page. Yeah.
oh, sorry, can
Yeah. Please go on.
I think his internet might have dropped or something.
Hello.
I can see it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
He's frozen. I think he'll read. There we go. He's back. You're muted, Nihan.
so, sorry. Do you mind saying
Mhm.
that again? The whole thing kind of got cut out.
Okay. Okay. So what I was just saying, I was just introducing you with some terminologies or how you are going to execute the code within this particular environment. So when we talk about executing the code, or in simple terms, for running the code, what you will use Shift plus Enter in
Okay.
order to execute your code. And when you want to comment, so comment is like if I don't want to run one part of my code, let's say I've written 10 lines of code, I don't want to run, 2 lines, 3 lines. I'm testing things out right now. So how can I make that happen? That these 2 lines should not be running, should not be getting executed. So for that, what I will use control plus slash. Just 1 second. In order to comment and in order to uncomment. So basically that part of the code will be commented. It's not going to get executed or to uncomment. All right. And then this is basic, which is like control plus A. If you want to select everything, it's common. So select all the code in a particular cell. So then you might want to delete it, you might want to comment it or whatever it is. So basic terminology that we are going to follow. I hope it's readable. Or shall I zoom in a little bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you zoom in a little bit more?
Okay.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it
this is
better?
better.
Okay. Okay. So
So
are
to
we
comment, is that forward slash or backward slash?
forward slash? Let me show you 1 second now. So let's say if I define something here, it's going to something. Just ignore this part, whatever I'm writing. Just now let's say what I want to do. Second, let's say I don't want to run this part. So what I will do, I will select this control it. So just 1 second. Yeah, it's going to be backward slash. Let me put it here in the bracket. Yeah, this is how, and then this code is now not going to get executed. If I want to uncomment this, then I will do it, and then it will be uncommented. Now all these 4 lines of code are going to get executed. Okay, hope that makes sense.
So, question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if it's a silly question, but I'm
Mhm.
very new to this, so trying to
Mhm.
figure out. You said about something with the forward and the backward slash,
Mhm.
and then all of this will be getting executed. So then, what is not getting executed, or like the uncommon part? I
Basically,
didn't get it.
this part that we have commented, it will not get executed. The rest of the part, which is not, this is uncommented. You don't see any
Okay.
hash in front of it. So everything, in simple terms, if you don't see this sign before
Oh, okay.
any code, that means that code, that part is going to get executed. So for example, let me run it. Can you see it's just
So,
printing A?
so it's not a slash then, it's a hash.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, slash is
Okay,
just to
because
comment and uncomment.
okay,
You get the hash via the slash.
You don't
okay.
have to kind of search for the this hash sign, and what you explicitly need to do is you select everything. Let's say I want to comment everything. So I don't have to go everywhere and then, find out on my keyboard where is the hash and then put that in front of it. I don't have to do that. What I can do instead of that, I can select the whole code and then put the hash in front of it. So now nothing is going to run. I hope it is clear now.
So hash is essentially like the omitting factor, right?
Yeah,
It kind of omits. Okay, so if you didn't have a hash for the first 3 lines, that's what it gave you the answer as 5. But since if you took all the hash out, it would be 5 and 2. So if you took all the hash out right now. Okay.
Right. So if I will, let's say, uncomment everything, then run it, then I will be getting 5 and 2.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it makes sense to everyone.
Sorry, one more thing. The slash, where do you head up with the slash?
I mean, you select the code, just do one thing. Just open your notebook, just write down these lines or any line for that matter.
Okay.
Just write down some lines. Let's say A is equal to something, B is equal to something, then print A, print B, something like that. The same code. Test it out on your side. Now, if you want, first of all, let me know once it is done. Once you are able to write down these 2 variables, then have these 2 print statements there.
Okay. So I have that ready.
Right.
So if I run this code, it gave me this. Okay. Oh, I see what you mean.
Correct. Now, let's say
so
you comment the last line. You select the last line of the code. And then you do control plus slash.
It's like a shortcut.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, these are very basic information that we need to know before we can actually start writing our code. Because as I start writing, I might be doing these things. So it should not feeling like what exactly this guy is doing. So this is like a prerequisite before we actually start writing the code for you to understand. Hope that makes sense to everyone. So you write it down on your side and then test it out, because unless you don't test it out, you will not have that confidence. It will be confusing for sure. Okay.
So is there a difference with like just command? Is there a difference with the control slash to give the hashtag, or just going for like the hash when you hit like 3?
No.
Is it?
No,
It's just
no
quicker. Okay.
So it's like
quicker.
if you have to do it for 10, 20 lines, so you cannot do it manually, right? So that way it becomes easier.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's get started. Now, what we are going to do, we will be writing our first program. So in a way, we kind of written that program, but let's try it. So we will be writing a program in order to, let's say, display demographics, which is going to be the name. Let's say the native place. So you all need to test it out on your side. The native place, let's say the designation, and some other detail, maybe a quick introduction about you. So how can I introduce myself? That is what we are going to do. Before that, let me just show you one more important concept, which is like a ritual that we do whenever you are going to learn any new programming language. This is kind of a ritual that we follow. The first program we are going to write in any programming language. So we follow that ritual, which is going to be, let me quickly write that down. So write a program. WAP is indicating write a program to indicate or to print hello world. So all of you are just saying hello to the Python world in Python. So how can you say hello world in Python? So I have kind of introduced you these terminologies. So I'm going to introduce you now because we've not discussed about it. So if you want to print something on your screen, how can you do that? So what you will use print. So print is the function. Print function is going to be used to display the results of a program. Whatever program we are going to write, if I want to see the result of that program, how is that possible? How can I see the results? So that will be possible with the help of print. So what I will do, I will write print everything in lowercase. So, I mean, I said one sentence at the start that Python is like English language, and in English language does not matter whether you write print like this or you write print like this or you write print like this. But in Python, it does matter, right? Because every word have some significance, it have some importance. So when I say function, that means it is kind of defined in the system. It's already defined. So if I'm going to randomly say print like this or like this, it will not work. I explicitly need to type like this, everything in lowercase. Right. And another important thing, like in terms of variables also, which we will discuss later on, if you're defining something with the lowercase and something with the uppercase, these two things are different. Okay. So if I will write print like this, Python will not understand. Like this, Python will not understand. What Python will understand? Only this part. So this is the right way of printing something out. In a similar manner, everything that I'm going to write, let's say in lowercase, uppercase, you have to follow it in the same way. Because if you will change it from lower, because I get this question a lot when you are doing the practice, you might be defining a variable, let's say in uppercase, and then you're calling the variable or printing it in the lowercase. And you'll say, I'm not getting the result, I'm getting the error. Why I'm getting the error? Because you have not defined in the right way. And if you put some spaces there, like you put randomly spaces in English like this, it does not really matter in English. But in programming, again, this thing also plays an important role, which we will discuss later on, how that space is going to affect something when we will learn about the loops. And for debugging also, when you will see a space there, it plays an important role. Okay, so now let me continue with that tradition. So what we will say, so either you can use single quote or you can use double quote. Both of them are fine. So let's say hello world. And let me comment this. So now if I will execute this, and like I said, in order to execute, shift plus enter, and that'll execute your program and that'll give you the result. Hope that makes sense. All right, now this is
No, wait. No, wait. So I followed you until you said print hello world. So I did print hello world. How do I execute it? How do I execute that code again?
right.
I wrote it down.
In
Okay.
order to execute, you have to use shift plus enter.
And then I select the whole thing. And then
No need to select. No need to select.
Oh, no need to select. Okay.
Right. Another way, you can click on this play button. There is a play button.
Oh, I see.
Can you
In order
zoom your screen a little bit more?
Is it better?
A little better, yes. So to execute, you just have to write print and then hello world.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to write this program and all of you can test it out on your side as well. Okay. So the first program is going to help us in order to just print the demographics. So let me display that. So let me print that out. So now within this, so when you are writing within the single quote or double quote, you can write anything. It's now a text. it can be in lowercase, it can be in uppercase, anything is going to work. It will not give you any problem. Now, even if, let's say, just to make this thing clear, even if I write like this, print, Python will not have any problem with it. But if you will write it outside the single quote or double quote, then Python will have a problem with that. Because now it is just treated as a text. It's not treated as any kind of special keywords. When you write it without single quote, double quote, it is treated as a special keyword. It's like Python then starts searching. Do I have anything which is defined with the, capitalized print? So that's how it works. So let me just introduce myself. Let's say it's Nandish. And so this is the first line. If I want to write a second line, I will add one more print statement in which I will say I was born and raised in Punjab. Then another print in which I'm just going to do what I'm currently doing. So I am as a client trainer.
Nandish, when you
Mhm.
are writing, right, the print, and then the parentheses and the quotation, is there a short form you're using to do that, or you're manually doing it? Because I'm doing it manually, where I'm, creating the brackets and then I'm using the parentheses. Is there something you're doing to like bring it faster? Because
No,
I'm not doing that.
no. So basically, if you will use single quote, right, it will give you the starting and the end code itself. So everything that you have to write within that. So there is no shortcut to that.
Okay, no, but so you're, because I'm manually finding the two quotes and then doing that.
Yeah,
So
it's right next to the
okay,
enter key. So I'm kind of
okay, so you're doing that. Okay,
used to that, but for you it might be new. So that's why we are doing this practice so that we become
okay, okay.
familiar with this. Okay, so I'm working as this, and I do trades, something like that. So your introduction, your demographics, your details, you can type it out, and then you can execute. So do you see some change here? I mean, the way I have written it and the way it is printed out, you can see there is a space that is added. Why the space is added? Because if you see my print statement, there is a space. So whatever you will have within the single quote or double quote, it will be shown to you, it will be displayed to you in the same manner. So now if I go back here and if I run it again, then that space will be removed from the screen. Okay. And then some of you might be thinking, okay, can you do one thing like after this, my name is Nandesh, can you add a line break? There should be a space of one line and then another line and then another line. How can you do that? So I'll show you the hardest way first, and then we'll see what are the easier way of doing this. So if I want to print the first line and then there should be a space and then the next line, what I will do, I will add any hint what I should be doing. If I want to add a blank space, a line break in between, what ideally I should be doing.
Blank space.
Blank space, yes. So I will print a blank space. Pretty straightforward, right? So if I will run it now, then you'll be able to see the blank space there. Same thing I can follow for all of these statements. And there you go. Now you have a blank space. Now you say that, instead of blank space, can you show something else in between? Maybe some special symbol or anything else. So like this. Then if I'll run it,
It will give you dots.
correct. So that's how the print statement is going to work.
So when you do the parentheses, are you doing, I mean, it might be we asking the same question, but how are you
Mhm.
getting the two parentheses like which are highlighted? when you're doing it manually? Because I'm not getting that.
So when you start writing
Like,
the print, right? You
yeah,
get the double
yeah.
quotes. You have these brackets starting and ending. Now, if you click within this brackets, you just need to press. I mean, there is a button right next to the enter. If you click
So
on that, mhm,
when I'm typing print, it
mhm.
does not give me those two parentheses.
Oh, just 1 second. So you are saying when you are writing like this, you're not getting
Yeah,
this. Are you
yeah, that's
getting
all I'm
this?
getting.
Are you getting this
Yes, yeah,
IntelliSense recommendation? Is it
yeah,
showing you something like this?
yep.
So one way is either you click on this or you start with the bracket first. You give one starting
So,
bracket. It will give you the closing bracket
oh, okay.
in
I
itself.
see. Okay, got it. Yeah, so now I'm getting it.
Right, right.
Okay.
When I write print and then I do have to manually do the one bracket,
Mhm.
then the other bracket comes, and then when I do one parentheses, the other parentheses come. I mean, not yeah, the quotation. I'm sorry, the
Hmm.
quotation. So when I do one quotation, the other one comes naturally.
Correct, correct. The first one you'll have to type it out. Sorry, I missed that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you have to start the parentheses and then ending will automatically come. And similarly, the
Yeah.
quotation, the starting, and the ending will automatically come.
Mhm.
Hope
You were
that
doing
makes.
it so
Makes
fast for
sense.
you. It was coming so fast. I thought like
Yeah,
it would come from the system or something because it's
right. Yeah,
taking me a second to find it.
right. So sorry for that. Yeah, my bad.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
it's a habit because. So sorry for that. Yeah. All right. So I hope we are good. That's why I'm just giving you this practice so that you can test it out and we can find these issues if there are any such, right? Just to be aligned, just to be on the same page. We are not going to learn a lot of things today because it is the first day. So I'm just keeping it very simple. The first few days are going to be very slow. So somebody who is already doing programming, for them, this will be very, very basics. But for someone who is getting started, this might be also very, difficult for them to understand, to comprehend with. So just to bring everyone on the same page, we'll have to do this activity. Okay, so just do this activity on your end and then let me know if yeah, that
Yep.
works.
Okay. So I just typed in like 2 lines.
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah, it's fine. I mean,
uh, so then, I mean, that's all I did so far. So like to execute it, I just say shift enter, right?
right, absolutely, absolutely. And now, how can you comment this code? If you have to comment, let's say the second line, which is I was born in
Comment?
Gujarat.
Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
comment means this line should not be getting executed. This code should be
Oh,
not,
okay.
not running.
So
How
then
you
I just
comment?
put a hash, right? Uh, oh, controls slash.
Select the line. You have to select the line first.
Oh,
Select the statement.
okay.
Now,
And then
control.
no, oops. What do I do? How do I undo that?
You can do control Z. It'll work.
Hmm.
You can copy the first line then. Copy the first line.
Mm,
Explain by name. Maybe give it to
okay.
two or something at the end so that we can change it. Give at the end maybe. Now select this line, the whole line. Now we
Okay.
have to comment this. How are you going to comment this code?
To comment it, I do control slash, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. Now run the code.
And to run the code, use the control enter. So then, do I need to put my cursor here before I do control
No,
enter or
no,
no?
you're already in
Oh,
that
okay.
cell that is selected. It's getting highlighted, right? You'll see that blue box.
So did that work? I think
Right. As you can see, the
it
first
took
line
away.
only the first line is getting executed. Now you have if you have to let's
Yeah.
say comment the first line. Now comment the first line and then the second line.
Okay. So, oops. How do I go back? Control Z, right? To undo it, I do control Z.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're saying to comment this one
Yeah. Comment the
or
first one,
uncomment this
uncomment. Yeah. Yeah. Second one. Correct.
one. Let's try this now.
Control Z.
It's Control Z.
Yeah.
Why is it not happening? Doing Control Z, but why is it not bringing that
It might be
back?
it might be Command Z if you have a Mac.
No, mine is not Mac. It's Intel. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna
Yeah. You
copy
can.
this
Yeah. You
one.
can copy this. Yeah. So not like this. Not like this. The way you did not that's not the right approach. You manually removed it.
Oh,
What if you have 20 lines? Are you going to manually remove the comment? No, right?
no.
So how are you going to uncomment the code? Comment the second line, uncomment it. The
So
same
that's what I
way
did though, no?
how you removed it. How that you I think you removed the hash manually.
Yeah. Oh, I
No,
should have
that
done like the command, right? Like the
yeah,
control slash.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, my bad.
Select the code, select the line.
So I did that. Then I'm
Yeah.
gonna do
No.
control slash for that one.
Yes. Now uncomment this.
Yeah. And then control slash for this one.
Right.
Okay. Does that
Yeah.
look okay now?
Yeah. This is fine.
Okay. Yeah, I did
Right.
that manually.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. You can stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say uncomment, that
Hmm.
is the hashtag, right? That's uncomment. Or
Yeah.
okay,
Remove the hash.
okay, remove the hash.
Again.
And
You
and comment is essentially like the
adding the
same
hash.
thing.
Yeah. Adding the hash.
Oh, okay. So uncomment is what we need to process
Run.
this. And
Right.
okay, gotcha.
Right. So I'll show you on my screen once again. I hope screen is visible. It's readable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, as you can see, everything is running. Control Shift plus Enter. Everything is running. I don't
Mhm.
want to execute this line. How I'll do that? So what I will do, just writing this down so that to explain you what I will do for this. If I don't want this line to run, what is the command?
And you put the hash. Control slash.
So ctrl plus slash. Correct.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing from my keyboard. Control plus slash. And then if I will run, and as you can see, only this part is
Mhm.
getting executed. If I want this part to run, again, the same thing. I don't have to go like this and then remove it. No, that's not the right way. Because
Okay.
imagine if you have commented 4 lines, and what if they were 400 lines? So you're not going to manually go and then remove them, right? So what you will
Mhm.
ideally do, you will select everything, again, do control plus slash, and then run it.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yep.
So commenting, uncommenting, writing our first program, everyone is good with that, except Amisha. We'll connect separately, Amisha. Don't worry. Okay. So shall
Yeah, I
we?
have
So
one.
one question.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead first.
Okay. So I just had one question. So in regards to like that Google Colab, like where can I create a file where I can save these like 4 commands that you said, which seems to be like the Gita to this right now.
So everything you are
Like,
writing, right, it's getting automatically saved in the drive. If you say that
oh,
locally, I want to download this in your local machine, then what you can
uh-huh.
do, you can click on the file and then you will see the option save. You can save a
Okay,
copy
but
to your
then
drive.
right now it's being getting saved here. So where can I retag this saying like, the notes. Like this is like I want to rename this basically, I guess.
This file, as you can
This
see, right? My
particular.
file name is untitled 0. I can just call it, let's
Oh, okay,
say,
over here.
class
Okay.
1. For me, it's like, 7th May. So I'll write it like this.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So and next time, now if I'll go, let's say I'll close this. I'm closing it. I'll go to just one sec. Let me go to that account. If I'll again search for Google Colab, then come here, I should be able to find that file. Was it? Let me see in the recent. Now I think the file did not get saved.
So when I go to Google Colab, I'm able to see the file that I renamed it.
You are able to see, yeah, some reason for me it's still getting connected. Yeah. So what you can do, the better
Because you
approach.
have different accounts. Yeah.
Yeah, probably because I used a different account. Probably that's possible. What you can do is basically when you click on this new notebook to the drive, and you can save it to the drive then. By default, it should automatically be saving it within the drive itself, but you explicitly mention it, then that is also going to work. It was a different account.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Just one second. It's a different account. Let me just check. Yeah, it was a different account. So if you go to that account explicitly, then you should be able to find it.
Okay.
There you go. So I'm able to find whatever I have written so far. Hope that makes sense. And here, explicitly, if you, let's say, if you save this file locally, what you can do, you can basically download this file. But that'll be like too much of work. If you still want to do it, that's fine. If you want to locally
No, I
save
just
this file,
yeah, I did that. I just needed part of the notes, like the first three commands,
yeah,
how
yeah,
to
yeah.
use them. So that's all I needed.
Right, right. That's fine. Okay, so we are good. We can continue.
Yeah, I have one more query here. For comment, these the few lines, so we can select the all lines and click the control slash, right? So all the lines are getting commented. But if you have multiple lines like 50 plus more, and in between that we can only select the first 30 lines, and after that one or two more lines we need to we are not going to comment it on that, and after that we need to comment another line. So is there any starting point and ending point is there for comment?
I mean, so there is no
Like
like
slash is our starting point for whole line, right? But if we have any paragraph or something like that, so if we are commented for first 10 lines and not commented for after 5 lines, and after that I need to comment another lines. So that if is there any short form or something like that instead of
no,
slash?
no. There's no shortcut. The slash is the actual shortcut.
Because we need to select a whole lines or whole paragraph for
Yeah,
comment, right?
you will have to. Yeah, you will have to do that. If you say
Okay.
that I'll have to comment only these lines, you select this part. Let's say comment this. I don't want to
Yeah.
comment these. Then you ignore
Yeah.
them. Then you'll do it like
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
this is the approach. There's no
Oh,
shortcut to this actually.
so we need to select whatever we need to comment, and after
Correct.
that, click on control slash. Okay, yeah, thank
Correct,
you.
correct, correct. So only that part will not be getting executed. Rest everything will be getting executed. Okay, so we are good. So let's proceed ahead. Now let's talk about some other important aspects. Just one more minute. Just one second. Okay. So now we are going to talk about another important concept, which is very important. That is going to be nothing but variables. So let me start with that. Yeah. So the next topic for us is going to be variables. And in Python, what we call them identifiers. Or for that matter, in any language, these are basically called as identifiers. So what exactly these are? These are going to be, these are the placeholders in order to store any type of values. So what I mean by that, let me just show you some examples, and then it'll be easier for you to understand. So I will be creating a variable, which is capital A, and in that variable, I will store a value 10. And now if I go for printing this out, if I'll say lowercase a, will it work?
No.
In this case, it might work because in a way we have kind of defined lowercase a also, right? When we started this session. Otherwise, if it was, let's say, maybe C, then it would not work. So you will be getting this error. This is a common error that you might get. And you need to know why are you getting this error, this name error. It tells you clearly. Can you see this point? It says there is an error in this particular line. Let me zoom in. There is an error in this line. It's clearly pointing this out. It's also highlighting this. So the point that I said, Python will do line by line execution. Python will tell you where you made a mistake. This is where you made a mistake. It's telling you clearly what is that mistake. So when we start writing the code, sometimes we do these type of mistakes. And it takes a lot of time for us to understand what is the mistake. Everything is fine. I'm defining the variable C. It should be getting executed. But you see the reason why? This is the reason why. It's not able to. It's
because it's a lowercase.
Correct. So Python does not know lowercase c. Python is not aware about lowercase c. So let's say before this class, did you know any person named Nandesh? Any instructor named Nandesh? For you, there was nobody like that. But from today, now you are introduced in your memory. There is a keyword in your memory that is saved Nandesh. With that Nandesh, you have a tag associated. Nandesh is our instructor. And when the next instructor comes in, if I tell you, hey, we have this instructor, if I tell you the name, you might not know him at this moment because for you, that person is still unknown. So similarly for Python, this C is unknown. So whenever it sees anything unknown, it will give you this error, name error.
So why did you say then earlier that the A that you put in before did work when you did print lowercase a?
So because when I was explaining you this concept, right, initially, I had already defined this. So that's why it was working.
Okay.
It is because as part of this notebook, it was already defined at the start, right? So that's why it worked. That's why I changed the example so that we can connect to the point. If I were to let me disconnect the runtime and then show the same example. Let me reconnect now. Now let me take the same example. Let it connect. Capital A and then lowercase a. Now let me run. So now can you see what happened here? Now whatever was written, we have kind of refreshed the memory of Python or this particular notebook. Now this notebook does not know what is lowercase a. It only knows what is uppercase a.
Okay.
Okay, so if I will give uppercase a here, then only it is going to work. Okay, so Python, another important keyword about Python, another important thing to keep in your mind, Python is a case sensitive language. That's why I give you so many examples. the way you write print, the way you define your variable, that does matter.
If we define a small a as a, then it will print.
Yeah, absolutely.
Print is small a.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. If you define it like this and then run it, then there's no problem. Then it will run. Okay.
So I was doing the exact thing that you were as you're doing it, and I put in a capital A equal 10 and print a small a, and it still printed for me.
Because for you also, right? If I saw your code, it was defined for you. So what you can do in the runtime, you can go and then you can click on disconnect and delete runtime, or you can click on restart the session. If you restart, it will refresh the memory of the session, and then only you execute that part of the code.
Okay, so
you go to the runtime, or you could click on restart the session, or you could do it like disconnect and delete runtime, and then you have to kind of connect. So easier way would be this: restart. Control.
And how'd you get that? How'd you get the menu? You double clicked, right clicked, or
you can do Control M. Shortcut is Control M. Or some reason it's not working. I'm sure. Click on runtime. Single click on the runtime and then click on restart the session.
Okay. Sorry, the computer just froze.
Okay, so let me just define now capital A also, which is, let's say, 100. And if I will print capital A, then you can see there are two different values that are assigned to them. Okay, so if you are having this confusion, maybe this confusion that you have defined capital A first and you are printing it first. You defined lowercase a first, you are printing it first. You have defined it later on, then you are printing it later on. Can you switch it? Is there going to be any problem? No. Let's try that out. See, now I have defined this first and I'm calling A first. There's no problem because, as I said, Python is going to do line by line execution. Okay, if I can show you that, just one sec. Let me try here. 1 second. We use this for complex kind of program, but let me try with this program. So this is the website, pythontutor.com. This website is basically when we will start writing more complex code, then this website is going to help us to visualize that code. Usually, if I were to do it in a physical setting, if I was in a class, I were to do it on a whiteboard. I will write a code and then I will break down that code, or I will do it right now on the whiteboard itself. This is the function I'm defining, what this each step is doing. But the easier way, which is making my job easier, which is Python tutor. So if I'll write down that code, everything here, so it will be able to show me line by line execution, what's happening. I hope you're able to see this. Let me paste everything there. Okay, so let me click on visualize. So can you see it's going to the first step? What step? The definition of A, lowercase a. Okay, so there is a value now in the Python system which is assigned to lowercase a, that is 10. Then the next step comes in, which is the value is capital A is assigned 100. Then the next step, which is now printing that value. So you get that output 100. Then the next output, you get that 100. If I'll switch it, then you will see the changes. So for example, if I were to do it like this, there is no B which is defined at the moment. Correct. So now if I were to do it like this, so let me go to the first step. Values assigned. If I'll go there, we'll be getting the error. It will give you the error on your screen, name error. So it's not for the debugging purpose. If some of you are thinking it will help you debug, it's not for the debugging purpose. It is for the visualization purpose. That's the reason I did this. For you to visualize when you will write more and more complex code, even if with the simplest code, when you start learning about loops and you want to understand how that loop is working. So this is going to help you in order to visualize it. And for the simplest program also, if you want to see how the execution is taking place, how the value is getting referred, so that's where this will help you. So if I'll change it again, let's say now calling capital A first, lowercase later on. So then how the execution is taking place, lowercase a, uppercase A, and then finding out. Now it will go, what is the value? It will search for capital A, what is the value, and then it will show you. Then it will search for lowercase a, what is the value, and then it will show you. Hope that makes sense to everyone. So please bookmark. Yeah.
Sorry, can I share my screen real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about, right? Like on line 20, when I hit enter, it still gives me the 10, right? So what am I like?
Click on runtime. Click on runtime. On the top, there's a menu runtime.
All right, runtime, yeah.
Yeah, click on that. Click on restart session. Yeah, click on restart. Yes.
Okay, so
did you saw that message? What that message was?
Oh, I did. I clicked too fast.
It will delete all your local variables. And now if you see, are you getting that point? It's not able to find A, because if you scroll up, just scroll up. Can you see you have already defined, a lowercase a. It's already defined.
AS5. Yeah.
Correct.
But,
so that's why.
So the print A won't print stuff directly like so in this line, right? A equals 10. I put print A lowercase a. So won't it print out from here the lowercase a?
Correct. You have to execute the first line first. I mean that cell in which you have defined lowercase a, if you want to print that. So now if you execute the first cell, which is lowercase a is equal to 5, execute this cell. Go to that cell, the first cell,
okay.
Then execute. Now Python is aware there is a lowercase a, you have defined it. Now go back to your last cell where you're getting that error. Now you will not get that error.
I see. Okay.
Because now in the Python memory, that variable is now stored. Both the variables.
Okay. So can there be multiple variables with the same, like, as in, like, if we define A as 5 and A as 10, can it have multiple variables, and then what will happen? So, like, for example, if we define A as 10 over here and we define capital A as 5, and run this, and now I try to run this. Okay, let's see. Let's see, capital A. But even though they're two variables, do you see, like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you have capital A is equal to 5, and then you have capital A equal to 10 as well.
Correct. So it's like, just give you one example. Let's say yesterday your account balance was $1,000. Somehow somebody added from somewhere, some magic, $1,000 got added to your account. So yesterday when you checked your balance, what was the balance it was showing you? $1,000. Now you wake up next day in the morning, you check up your account. What will be the balance in the account?
2,000.
How that 2,000? Because there was a transaction that happened. So similarly, here also there is a recent transaction that happened in which you have changed the value. So instead of capital A being 5, now in the recent transaction you have defined the value is 10.
Okay, so if I define this again as 5,
but you have to uncomment A, right? This part, which is a capital A equal to 10, you have to uncomment this if you want it to refer to the previous value that you have defined. Because when you are running this statement, there are two things which are happening, right? You are defining the new value of A as well as you are printing A. Now, if you will do this, now you will get the old value.
Okay.
Right? If the bank says, oh, this is an unauthorized transaction, something, let's put a hold on that transaction. So what you will see the balance, still $1,000. The same thing. kind of like you're putting the hold. I don't want this new value to be shown.
So you
I see.
override
Okay.
the previous
Previous value.
comments if you add the
Mhm.
newer value for the upgraded. Okay. But then
Yeah.
you must run that command then only, because Python then understands that, okay, this information was received.
Correct. Absolutely. Okay.
I have quick
Mhm.
question.
Yeah.
Before he restarted the session, it his output was 10, even though the small case A was assigned 5. So how did it it show 10? Like it should be 5, right? Because small a was assigned as 5, and he was printing small a before he restarted the session.
That's because in the cell, previously he had run it with small a equals 10 and print small a. Then
Oh,
when you
okay.
change the text, those variables are still stored.
Okay. So that means previously he assigned the small a as 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Dharma, for that. Okay. Yeah, you can stop sharing now. Thank you. All right. So, anyone else want to share the screen, or shall we continue? Okay, cool then. So let's continue. So this is a website that all of you can bookmark. Like I said, this will be really helpful to you whenever you want to understand how the execution is taking place. So same example. Let's say you don't believe me, whatever I said, you want to validate, which is a good quality of a programmer. You don't believe whatever is being said to you, you just want to do the validation. So let's say we'll take this code, okay? Whatever is being taught, you want to do the validation, how it's actually happening. Like you don't believe Tanmay, you don't believe me. So how can we do the validation for that? Let's take this whole code together and then let's try to visualize. So if you see, what is the value of A? Let me remove this. This to be, yeah. And let's, just to keep it simple, let's just do it like this only, not to make it complex. Okay. I hope you're getting my point. What's happening here? So initially I have defined in the same cell, it could be in different cell, does not matter. But just to show you the execution, I'm just doing it. Initially I've defined lowercase a equal to 5. Then I said it's equal to 10. If I'll print, what is the output I'm going to get? So let's check it out. I hope it's visible. Let me zoom in if not. Now let's run it. So lowercase a equal to 5. Sorry. So lowercase a is assigned value 5. Next step, what we did, lowercase a equal to 10. Now, what is the new value that is assigned to a? It's not 5 anymore. It's 10.
Yeah.
Now, if I will run it, what is the output I'm going to get? 10. If I were to switch this, and like this, then you know what is going to happen. Right? So let's run it. Sorry. So now it's 10. Now the value is 5. If I will run it, what I'm going to get? Is it 10 or 5?
5.
It will be 5. If I were to remove it, then it's pretty simple. Only one value is assigned. So that is the result you will get.
So whatever value is closest to the print is,
Yeah.
is what it will spit out.
Yeah, recent execution. Whatever value is recently stored in the memory. If you have kind of overwritten the memory or that variable value, if you've changed it in the recent code, then it will change. Because it's possible, right? You will do it like this. You have defined A here as 10 in one cell, you've defined it like this. Then you go for another cell in which you simply print this. Then it will refer to the most recent memory, which is this. But along with print, in the next cell, if you will do it like this, equal to 15, then it will refer to that value. I hope it makes sense.
Okay.
So it does not matter the cells, whether it is in multiple cell, in single cell, it will refer to the most recent values, most recent execution. Okay, hope that makes sense to all of you. Yeah, okay, so let's proceed ahead. So variable I want to talk about. Now, one example of the variable was when we are dealing with numbers or number as an integer specifically. So it could be a positive value, it could be a negative value also. So negative 10. Sorry. 10. A. So it will show you negative 10. What if I were to store, let's say, a decimal number, 10.5? So that is also possible. Okay, that's also possible. And what if I were to kind of, let's say, a name I want to store, let's say Nandesh. If I want to store a name like this, I can do it either with single quote or with double quote. So single quote will also work, double quote will also work. Okay. Now, some important aspect with respect to creation of your variable. Let's say I want to store my city, where exactly I'm located. So can I define my variable like this? My space city is equal to, let's say, Delhi. Is it possible? Let's see.
Yeah, because you can say print my city, right?
Let's see. Yeah, let's check. I'll copy this whole thing, paste it here. Can you see what does it gives you?
But you didn't have the two quotes or the one.
I think there should not be
You
any
just wrote.
space.
Can you see where is the error? Where are you getting the error? In which line?
My city.
Between my and city.
There is a problem over here. What is that problem? It's telling you
The space.
the syntax, invalid syntax. Invalid syntax means in grammar. There's a problem with my grammar. Python is not able to understand my grammar in simple terms. So the way I have written it, the way I have defined it, it's not the right way. So that means the space. What is the issue? The issue is with respect to the space. I'll remove the space. Do you see that underline? This part was getting underlined. It has removed. Now it's gone. Now if I'll run it, still there is a problem. Why there is a problem?
Because in print you have not changed.
Yeah. So now again, you are able to identify, right? There is a problem in which line? It's clearly telling you there is a problem in print. Go and only look at print. You go and fix that. And it's working. So instead of having
So
a
why is
space.
there
Yeah,
why is there extra space after my city?
it does not matter. I mean, it's just a space that you are giving after the name. I mean,
No,
I
like
think
under
she
like
meant
part of
in
the
print.
print. In that print command.
Yeah, it's not affecting anything. It's not
Oh,
affecting.
okay.
Yeah, that's part of the bracket. It's not affecting anything. If I were to do it within single quote, double quote, then it would affect. Otherwise, not. Okay. So if you, sorry, yeah, Reshma, you're saying something. Sorry to cut you.
No, I was telling what she was referring. She was referring in print. I'm saying that's all.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. So instead of that means the rule says I cannot have a space within the variables. So what if I want to store my city not the way it is written? So what is the alternative to the space? I can use the underscore. Can I use something else? Can I use this? Sorry, my bad again. No. Can I use something else? Let's say this star. No. only one special character is allowed, that is underscore, nothing else, because all these other special character, they have other significance, which we will discuss when we move to the operator. We'll discuss different type of operator, then you will understand why I can't use this, because they have a different meaning altogether. So only thing that I can use is this. Hope that makes sense. Can I, you might be thinking, can I have a bracket like this? Can I put my name in bracket? It looks good. So is it going to work? It will work, but it's a different topic then. What is going to happen behind the scenes? That is going to be a completely different topic. Okay. So we'll talk about that later on, not now. Hope that makes sense. So we discussed variables. We talked about print statement. Can we combine these two together? The variable plus the print statement. Yes, we can. Okay, so let's discuss that. So let's say class. I'm defining class is also a variable defined. So let's say I'll use this variable. Full name and full name we can use here as Skillify solution. So this is the name that I have defined, Skillify solution, or can I define it like this? Class name, yes. And now can I combine this with the print statement? So I'll say I am taking a data science course from where? Now
Class
I
name.
want to, yes, I want to use this variable. How can I use this variable? Can I use comma? Can I use comma and then use it? Let's see if that works. Let's use a comma because that's what you write in English, right? You give a comma and then you run the code. So yes, that's a one way of doing this. You can add a comma and then what if I want to add one more variable there? Duration. Duration is what? Duration is 4. Now this is a different variable. This is a different variable. This is a different variable, and the type is also different. It's a text. It's a number. So I said I am taking my class from this course. Class name is this. I add some more text. So what I will do with the duration, and then I can add a variable again. Duration. I cannot write it like this. Okay. I cannot write it like this. Can I? If I will write it like this, is it going to work? No, right? No, it's going to work. I'll have to explicitly write it like this with 4 months, but we have to add a month also, right? At the end of it, because it will show right now like this. Duration is no. Why it's not working? Because I have not executed this cell. That's the reason it's working. So whenever you get this type of an error, although you might say, oh, I have defined it, but did you execute the cell? No, I have not executed the cell. That's why it's not able to find it. So now if I were to execute this and then execute this, for what? For months. So I'll add another string over there, which is going to be a space and then months. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is how you can combine your variables along with your print statement. Hope that makes sense to all of you. So you can define your name, your city, or some other details, and then try to print it out in the form of variable. So you can define variables like my name is, you define your name. My city is this. I have worked on this particular field. I want to become whatever. Data scientist, data analyst, data engineer, Gen AI engineer, AI engineer, whatever. So you define these four variables and then you print four print statement. Okay, just try it on your side. I hope you get the question right. What is the question? You have to kind of introduce yourself, but using the variables. My name is, you define a variable, then you use that. I am from whatever city. My background is this. I want to become whatever is the code. So four variables, four print statement. Try to print it out. Yeah. So yeah, now if I'll run it, saying there is a problem over here. Why? Because it's not part of the print. Python is not
Yeah.
able to understand this part because it's not a function, it's not a variable, and most importantly, it is before the print. So if I were to add this, how I will have to add? I'll have to add this within the single quote or double quote. Then add a space. Now, if I will run this, still there is a problem. Let's see what is the problem. So again, there is a problem. There is a problem. It says my name is taking. There is a problem with respect to taking class. So is it within the quotes? So what you have done, you have mixed match the string and the variables. If I show you my example, whenever I'm using a variable, is it in the double quotes, single quote? No. You have to refer
No.
to the variable as it is, the way you have defined it. If you will put
So
this in
that
the
should not be in the code.
correct, it should not be in the quote. And another important thing, this is again in continuation to this topic, which is the string formatting. If you will start the single quote and double quote, it should be having certain ending. In your case, if you see, you have started this part. I mean, I've added this part. It's also having ending. This is also having ending. But what about these? They don't have the starting and the ending. And you also have multiple print statements there itself. So if I were to fix this, I'll quickly fix this in the interest of time. So my name is, how you will write? My name is, you will use the variable. Sorry. Okay. Then located in. Located in. So again, what you will do, you will use a variable. Okay. Then you are saying taking a class. Again, it will be a string. Taking a class in. Then you will remove the print. We'll add the comma. Which is this is a variable. 4 months. How you define it? 4 months is a variable. So why, if you have defined a variable, then why are you writing like this? You can simply use duration, this variable.
Oh yeah.
That's why I
Okay.
was saying do it in multiple lines. If you do everything in a single line, these type of problem you will face. If you break it down in multiple line, then it will be easier. Which is duration space space. Still there is an issue. Class taking a class. So there is a problem. See how you define the variable. How are you referring it to? I mean, it's lowercase and uppercase. There's a problem with that.
Oh yeah.
So that's another problem, which is 4 months, and Okay, now it should be fine. Can you see? My name is this, taking class, data science, which is Komato.
Yeah.
So again, repeating, whenever you will refer to a variable, naming needs to match. It cannot be within the quotation. It has to be without the quotation. Okay.
Okay. Can you just quickly copy paste this so I have it for my record
Yeah, sure.
in the chat?
Right. So this is how it will be done. Again, still we are yet to talk about these some other discussion around the variable declaration, because there are certain rules that are associated with respect to the variable declaration. As you can see, you are getting some errors. So I want you to get those errors, because that's when you will understand the importance of those rules. Certain rules are there. So we talked about some rule with respect to the number. We talked about the space. We talked about the space. But is there any other rule also? So that we will discuss with respect to variable creation, and while using the variable within the string. And one question that was asked by Mempool with respect to the space. So how can we tackle that? How that can be fixed? So that will be covered once we talk about the string formatting. Okay, so quickly, if I were to recap what we have discussed today, we talked about how we are going to print our first program, which is nothing but Hello World. We talked about Google Colab, which is going to be the place that we are going to use for writing our code, for interactive code. How are you going to execute the code? How are you going to run the code, comment the code, uncomment the code? And most importantly, we started with a very interesting topic, that was variable declaration. How the variables are going to be assigned, how the values of those variables are going to change. And then how can you combine your variable along with the print statement, along with the string. So this was something that we discussed today. Let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah, that should be okay. Okay, I hope it's readable.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with our day two. Before we start with the day two, anyone have any questions with respect to day one, what we covered today?
Yeah, I have one question regarding yesterday you saw the Python tutorial, right? So from Google, which site we need to go over there to compare for debugging of that?
Let me just put that link in the chat. Sorry, yeah, I missed that. This is the website, pythontutor.com.
Tutor.com. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else have any other question? It's all good, right? Okay, so let's start. So yesterday we were talking about variable creation. And we started with our discussion. We talked about some points with respect to creation of the variables. There are a few other that we need to discuss. So what we talked about, let me quickly recap from the variable perspective. So let's say if I have to create a variable name, which is like this, student name. So can I create a variable name like this? Is it the right approach?
No.
No.
That's not the right approach. The spaces are not allowed. Okay, so that's the first rule. Space will not be allowed while you are going to create the variable. Second thing, can I start the variable name with a number? So let's say if I say maybe 2age is equal to 24.
No.
So the variable cannot start with the number. This also we kind of discussed. Then other, if you talk about, let's say, can I use some special symbols? Let's say Delhi, city, or maybe I just give some name here, or not Delhi, I would say students. Student city is equal to Delhi.
No.
So again, that will be not allowed. So cannot use the special symbol, because today when we talk about the arithmetic operation, that's when you realize that these basically have their own significance, and we are going to use them differently. So we cannot use them within the variables. Okay, that's another.
Dish, I have a question. So, can we
Mhm.
first backtrack a little bit? Can you explain what a variable is? Is it like a command? What is exactly a definition of a variable, and how would you like explain just all of these commands that we have? All of them are variables. Is that how we would use the terminology?
So variable, like we discussed in the last session, variables are the placeholders.
Okay,
So
got it.
the example of variable is the account number. Account number is a variable, and the value is assigned to your account number. Name is a variable. It's a placeholder.
Got it.
Your name values your SSN. SSN is a variable. Then it is assigned with some value of your social security number, and so on and so forth. So variable, in order to store any value, for example, if I have to store a name, if I have to refer to a name, like we were talking about this example. Yeah. So for example, this example, if I have to print this out, let's say for Renam did not use variable. So what Renam have to do? She have to explicitly write down everything in the print statement. But if we create variables, so then the concept of reusability comes into picture. So you create a variable once, you define one template, and that template can be used for different students as well. So if I create a standardized template, let's say like this. So if a new
So
student comes in, what they have to give
let
me,
me
they
let me interrupt if I can. So you
sure.
said this is not as a variable. So what do you mean if this is not a variable?
No,
So
no, I'm
I'm
saying
still trying to understand the
if if
difference.
if if you are not supposed to use a variable, let's say if you are not using the variable, let me give you an example in that case. Let's
Y-
yeah. So
So
in this
this
case, what
example of mine is not a variable, you're
no
saying,
no no.
right?
It is the example of variable, but if we were to do it without the variable, then how difficult it would be.
Okay.
Let me explain this.
Yeah.
So if without the variable, how we will have to do? So we will
Yeah.
understand the concept of reusability. So I'll have to explicitly put everything here. Let me just change this string. One second. One second. One second. Uh, yeah, let me make a duplicate copy of this so that we can do the comparison. So in this example, we were using the variable, and I'll show you another example in which I'm not using the variable, and then we'll try to understand what is the advantage of using the variable. Okay.
Okay.
So
While Nandish is setting that up, just wanted to say like the way that I like to think of it as a variable is what you store your values in. The name variable, right? So it can vary. And so within a variable, you can store values that you want to recall later on in your program without having to explicitly define them again and again. But this would be a great example for you to see really quickly why we use variables. It's just certain things that you define and you reuse again and again in your code. It's helpful to define variables for them, makes it easier to reuse.
thank you, Tanman, for that. Class. Class. Science. Which is Okay. So see, here are we using any variable in this particular statement? No, right? There's no variable
No,
that is being used. We have to
no.
explicitly type out everything. So now let's run it. It is giving me this output. In this case, 1 second. So there is no issue. I mean, do you see any issue with respect to this? That I am not using any variable and everything is working fine. And in this case, I am still getting the same output, but I'm using the variable. You don't see any problem with this?
I actually, I kind of understand now. The bottom one, you defined everything. Okay,
Hmm.
I am telling you, give me this output. So it gave me
Hmm.
that output in the bottom one. But in the top
Correct.
one, you define this is the name, this is the place, this is learning, this is duration. So next time, if you just ask for what the name is, it should know that it's renum because you have defined the variable.
Correct. So
Like if you
basically,
just
the
ask a name, it should say renum without any other information. Like it knows that this is renum. It knows this is New Jersey
correct,
independently.
correct. That's correct. And the point that Tanmay mentioned about reusability, how that reusability will comes into picture. Because Niket might be Niket is a different person. Niket is living at a different place. Niket, in this case, learning the same thing. The duration is same, but it could be, let's say, if it's person learning cybersecurity, then this will also change. For cybersecurity, let's say the duration is 6 months. So this will also change. So let's say if the student comes in, it gives us some input. My name is this. I live in this place. I'm learning this, and my duration is this. Then we get this out. So that is the advantage of using the variable. If we are not using the variable, then we have to explicitly type out everything here. I hope that makes sense now. What is the advantage of using the variable? So when Tanmay said reusability, this is what we mean when we say reusability. You create this. This is kind of now a template, right? It's not associated only with Renum. Anyone can use this template. They just have to change these values. That's why they are the variables, because their values are going to vary. The values are going to change. Okay, hope that makes sense to everyone.
One more advantage is this: if there is the name variable which have renumsa, but if in the instead of renumsa, we can save as a my name is renumsa located in the New Jersey taking a class. It's a big statement, right? So we can instead of every time typing this big statement, you can
Yeah,
use the
correct.
name variable only.
Correct. Absolutely. So that is where the reusability comes in. That is the whole point of reusability, because we don't want to type this lengthy statement. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mehul, for that. Yeah, because we don't want to type these lengthy statements again and again. We just want to reduce the time. So if you talk about programmers are very lazy. So everything that we do within programming is to make our life easier so that we could do things faster. And with respect to AI, same thing is happening. How we used to develop apps earlier, now how we are developing apps now. I'll tell you example of one of the projects. There is one project that our organization is basically working, and on that project, we don't really have any developers. On that project, only what we have is the SMEs, the BAs, the solution architects, and what we are using for developing the solution is AI. They have developed some system, and with the help of those systems, we are developing now the code, and then the testing is happening and everything is happening. So, and so this is the starting point. You can imagine this is the simplest example of how in coding, how we are trying to make things easier. And with respect to AI, this is going in an exponential direction, how things are now moving. Okay, so coming back to the discussion. So this is something we were discussing, and there is one more important point with respect to variable creation is this. So can I create a variable with some special keyword in Python? So for example, in Python, there are a lot of special keywords which you will be using later on. Some of you might be already familiar with them, but If not, then we will talk about these. So there are some special keywords. So for example, when I write this keyword class, so this has a special importance, and that's why it is kind of highlighted in this color. So if I try to assign a variable which is having some special importance in Python, then what will happen? I will be getting an error. I'll show you one more example. Let's say if this is having another, it's also another important keyword within Python. If I try to assign any value to this and try to create it as a variable, this will also not work because it's a reserved keyword. Okay, so this is the reserved keyword that we have within Python, which we cannot use. So quickly, if I were to highlight, spaces are not allowed. Variable cannot start with the number. You cannot use special symbol within the variable name except for underscore. Underscore is something that you could use. You cannot start the variable name with a space. If you want to leave, let's say, you leave like this, maybe do that, and then say something like this. What will happen? It will give you an error because what I have done, I have given a space at the start. So instead of giving this space, what you can do, you could actually give the underscore. Right? So that's how you can do. So for example, if you create a variable a equal to maybe 65 and underscore a equal to 55. So these are two different variables. Okay.
So you can use underscore and then the letter, but not the number and anything
Yes.
else. Like you cannot start
Yes.
with the number.
Correct. Number you could use at the end if you like. For example, what you could do, we could say student one, and then you could give the name maybe Ahad, and that will work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want to use a space like we discussed yesterday, then you can do this underscore again. Instead of space, you can use underscore, and then you can define, say this. So that is how you can define the variables.
What was that blue thing you saw be put up on class? Could you do you mind explain that again?
So basically, class is a reserved keyword in Python. Okay. So Python basically treat this with some special importance. When we will learn the concept of hoops, that's where you will understand what is the meaning of this class, when we will use this class. So it's like it's already a reserved keyword. Python will treat this differently. Python have a different meaning for it. So you cannot use the same name kind of. So for example, let's say there is already somebody with Niket in your house. So maybe your family have a tradition now, they are not going to name someone Niket again within the family. So it's like that. So similarly, if is also a reserved keyword in Python. It has a special significance. When we learn about the conditional statement, then you will know what is the significance of if.
Okay.
If is going to be used when we are going to work on conditions. So there are many such keywords which have some significance which you cannot use within your variable. Let me see. There is one library. If I can show that to you.
Do we have to
It was
remember those words?
Not really. When you start working on Python, then automatically you will know their names. Let me
Okay.
see if I can find that. If I can show that to you. What are those? One second. The name of that library. Oh, sorry, keyword. My bad. From keywords. There is one library that we have for keywords from. One second. I'll check this how we can show this list. 1 second. Let me just see what is the name of that library. So basically what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to find a list which can kind of show you all the keywords. So this keyword. It's KW list. Yeah, correct. So if you want to see what are the different variables, or we call them not variables, we call them keywords, which have some special significance. So this is the list. As you can see, class is also one of them. If is also one of them. Import is also one of them. So I'll just give you this code for your reference. So we'll talk about this later, what I have done here, but it's just for your reference for now, that if you want to see the list of all the reserved keyword, I mean, you can go on the internet, you can find on Python website also and a lot of other websites. But if you want to do it within the notebook, this is how you can find the list of reserved keyword, which you are not going to use when you will define your own variables. Okay, hope that makes sense. Because they have a special significance, that's why we cannot use them. Okay, so moving on. The next topic. So yeah, let me just quickly add some pointers here.
So these keywords cannot be used as a variable, right?
Yes.
But it can be used otherwise. Like,
yes, because yeah, otherwise they have a special significance. So when we are going to use them with some context, they will have some context whenever we are going to use them.
okay.
So some pointers with respect to variables, I'll quickly add them up here. Variables should always be having some meaning whenever you create a variable, because again, the reason for that, when you create a variable with some significance, is the concept of readability. So when you are going to write a code, you can create variable with X, Y, Z. But what if someone else is going to start reading your code? Let's say you move out of that project. Now someone else is going to read up that code. So how they will understand why you have given X here, Y here, but if you give some significant name, let's say in this case, student name, or let's say project name, let's say department name, something like that, which have some significance. So that person will be quickly able to understand, okay, this variable is used as a reference to the department, to the student name, or whatever. Then always try to use the lowercase letters with respect to variable. This is not really kind of a rule. It's kind of a standard that we follow within Python, that we try to use lowercase letter with respect to variables whenever we create. It does not mean you cannot create variable with the uppercase letter. You definitely can, but it is just the rule that we try to follow within Python. Then you can use underscore for space if you want a space between the two different words. So instead of using the space, what you can actually use, you can use underscore. And do not use spaces and do not use Python keywords. How to find the list of Python keywords? This is how you can find the list of Python keywords. Okay, so that was with respect to the variable creation. So if I can show you an example with respect to this variable creation, I'll quickly add that example here. So this example, not this one, sorry. Let me grab that one. Yeah. So this example, as you can see, what I have done here, I can do some calculation part. This part we are yet to discuss with respect to arithmetic operation. We'll talk about this today, but just to give you some context here, how variable will be useful when we are going to start performing some complex operation. So what I have done here, I've created a variable name, which is student name, which is assigned with some value. It can be anything. It can be Imad, it can be Nishant, or it can be anyone. What is the course that he's learning, which is this one? What is the fee of the course? What is the paid amount? Now we have to calculate the balance. So a simplest logic is kind of introduced here. We have to find out what is the balance amount that Neha have to pay for this course. That needs to be shown on the screen. So for that, again, what we have done, we have created another variable, which is nothing but balance amount. In this, what we are doing, a simple calculation from the total fee. So the basic calculation that you would do on your notepad, same calculation we are doing, but we are assigning that to the variable so that if these values were to change, if this is, let's say, Nandesh, if the course is cybersecurity, if the total fee is maybe 50,000, 70,000, whatever, and the paid amount is also varying, then we want to calculate what is the balance amount. So we'll use the variable here. I don't have to explicitly type 50,000 here or the remaining amount, maybe 20,000 here. I'll just use the variable and then it will give me the rest of the information. So Neha, and if I were to change this, let's say, and the course is Python for, let's say, network security, maybe, and the course fee is, let's say, 1,25,000, and this is the result that we are going to get. So again, the same point, the concept of reusability. I don't have to type out the entire statements again, right? I'm using the same variables. I just change their value and rest of the things will automatically be fixed. Hope that makes sense. Now we're able to kind of connect the points with respect to variable and print statement, how these two are going to be combined.
Makes sense.
Okay, so just give me 1 minute. So what you can do, basic, but for this, okay, you can try this one. If you're not able to do it, then you can do this later on once we are done with respect to the arithmetic operations. So what you will have to do, you have to create a monthly budget calculator. So what I've shown here, I've shown a course kind of a calculator, which is telling me what is the paid amount, what is the total fee, and what is the balance amount. So similarly, you have to calculate your monthly budget. So how can you plan when you do it on a, let's say, on Excel sheet, or when you do it on a notepad? Now you have to do it within Python. How are you going to use variables? And then what exactly you will be showing with respect to the print statement. So just try this out. If you're not able to do it, that's okay. Once we discuss arithmetic operation, then you should be able to perform this activity. So let's give it a try and then we'll continue.
Can you go up a little
Sure.
on your screen? Just want to see. Okay, yeah, thanks.
I'll paste this code in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
But ideally, I would want you to type this out, not copy paste this. I'll just paste this question also in the chat so that all of you will have that. Let me know once it is done. Once you're able to, calculate or complete that monthly budget calculator.
I tried something, Nandish. Do you want to take a look?
Yeah, sure, please. Okay.
And I did not even had to type all of this. Like the one it gave me like suggestions, so I just had to press tab once I pressed F.
Okay, but now, I mean, I know that's the easier way of doing it, but for now, I'll say you type out the whole thing. So,
like you want me to print
I mean,
of
you
this?
you type out the whole thing, the whole logic. You should be typing that out for now at least. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. In this case, it's okay. But you are getting those suggestions. Just ignore those suggestions for now.
Okay.
Although we are learning UI, but don't use AI while you are learning Python at this moment. Once you are expert, once you know all the nitty-gritties, then you can start using suggestions and even generate the whole code as well. Like I gave you the example. But for the moment, don't try to use those suggestions. Type out the whole thing on your own.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, this looks good. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So we will now proceed ahead. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Correct. So in this approach, we still have to kind of come in here and type out this information. But is there a way, you must be wondering, is there a way that we can take this as an input from the user? The user can come, they can give the information, and then that information we can use within our code. Okay. So for that, there is a function that comes into picture. So how to take a input from the user. So how to take an input from the user? We will use this function which is called as input. So if I'll run this function, what will happen? I'll get this window where I can type out anything. I can type out a number. I can type out a string. Let me show you. I can type out, let's say, a name. And then I can associate or I can store the value, what the user is giving, into a variable. So that's where the connection is. Input I will use to take input from the user. Variable I will use in order to store the value, and print I will use in order to display what the user has given. What is the value associated with that? So if I take the simple example, let's say I want to go with the student name. So instead of me typing this out here, can we use variable for this? I mean, the input function for this? Yes, we can. So now, if I will do it like this, or let me just add this bit later. The second step. Okay, so let's say I'll run this and I can enter my name here. So now if you see, it's showing me kind of student name is equal to Nandesh, and I can also explicitly print this out, not here in a second line, otherwise it'll ask me again the same thing. Now if you go and check what is the value of student name, it'll say Nandesh.
Nandesh.
Correct. So if I go back again, if I change the value, let's say I'll say Ahad, and then I print this out, the value is Ahad.
So
And then if I print,
sorry, so what's the difference between the? I don't understand the difference between like the student name, the line 32 and 28.
line 32 and 28. So
Yeah.
I have not executed this line yet. I'm yet to introduce this line.
Okay.
The difference is,
yeah.
The difference is only that we've added student name there. I mean, that's the only difference. Because what we are trying to achieve, this. This is our end goal.
Okay.
Right? But I'm just trying to break it down for you that how we'll do this one by one. So first, we are taking value, which is the name of the student, and then we are printing that out. But how the user will understand that he have to enter his name? It says just input. It's not saying give me your name, enter your name, nothing like that, right? So ideally it should be enter your name and then I should go and enter a name over there.
Yeah.
Correct? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what is the point of using this input? So instead of doing this, what we can do it like this. We can add a string or we can add a text within the input function and ask the user enter the name. Please enter your name. Please enter student name. It's up to you. Your name. Okay. And then the student will come. It will read the statement and then they will enter their name. Okay. So they will come and they will enter their name. Let's say, Nupur. And then if I go and then check what is the value of student name now, we will see Nupur. And if I combine this with this statement, student name, then it will show me student name is this.
Okay.
Are you getting this point now?
Yeah.
So we are taking an input and we are telling the user what is the input that we are looking for. Okay. So I'm going to make some changes in this statement. So shall I do it one by one or I can do it all together? Shall I break
Can
it
you
down?
go, can you go down again one more time? So I just want to kind of okay. So student name input. So input in the next line in line 34, you've just defined what the input is. So if you wanted to input the student's age, for example, then you would just define that this is age. And then you did print statement, and then whatever the student name or student age that you wanted, whatever the people have inputted, that's what the value would have come in line 35.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then
So
you
then
did print statement, and then you said student name, and then that's the code that you got from line 33, because you are defining what the student name is in line 33, and then you just said like that's what the value I want from there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I was
I think
asking,
I lost it. Can you re-explain this? I'm just kind of confused with
Okay.
this whole thing.
Okay. So
It
like
threw me off.
when you go to a website for sign up, let's say you go to Instagram, you go to Facebook. So when you have to
Yeah.
create your account, how do you create your account there? You provide some information to them.
Yeah,
You
like you
give some,
create a username.
yeah. While creating the username, what information you give them? You give your name, your email address. So some input you are providing to
Yeah.
them, right? So in
Mm-hmm.
the backend, in the system, how they are storing this information. So we are trying to kind of simulate that with this simple example. If I have to simulate
Okay.
that over here, how I will make that happen? I have to take some input from you. Let's say your name, your age, your city, and some other details. And then I need to store it. Storing part will come later on, that we can store this information in the files, in the DB. That will come later on. For now, we are just trying to display that information just to showcase what is being stored as a variable. So for us, that information for now is getting stored as a variable. Let me just do one thing. But it be difficult to show over there. Just give me 1 second, please. Sorry for that. So let me just try to emulate this. One second. Then, okay. See, it can help us somehow. bracket definition. Okay. So can you see when the code is getting executed, the first thing that's happening, it's asking for my name. So let's say I give my
Yeah.
name here. So now what is happening behind the scene? That name is getting stored as a variable. Okay. And in the second statement, what are we doing? We're just displaying that information. That we are just checking what is the name or what is the value that is stored inside the variable name student name. So then what will show me in the next statement? It will just show me Nandish because that's the value which is stored within this particular variable. Okay. And then in the next statement, what are we doing? We are printing student name and what is the value that is stored within the student name. Maybe you are getting confused because I'm using student name.
Yeah.
So let me just change it. Candidate name. Yeah. Maybe that will make a difference.
Okay.
So just 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. I hope now it will be easier.
Yeah.
So let me run it. So let's start the execution. Please enter your name. We've already entered our name. Then gives you the name. What is the value that is stored inside this variable? And then if you run it, candidate name is Nandish. So this is the print part. This is not going to change. This will be the constant. So just treat this as a constant. This value is not going to change. But student name, which is a variable, it is going to change with respect to what is the value that you are giving as an input.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense now. So whatever that you're putting in as an input, that is making the student name change basically each time.
Correct. It's right. It's like when Nupur is going to set up her account, the details for her are going to change. When Reshma is going to set up her account, the details for her are going to change. So similarly, the same thing is happening here. Hope that makes sense.
Yep.
The candidate name is not going to change, but the value of that is going to change. Yeah, actually, it was student name that was throwing me off too. But then I was also confused. Why is it like student name? But yeah, now it makes sense.
Right. So everything, so just understand one thing. Everything which is inside this double quote or single quote, everything which is inside the quotation, that is not going to change. It's a constant value. Which is outside this can be treated as a variable.
Got it.
Because it's going to change. Okay. So shall I convert this whole thing in one go or shall I do it one by one?
You can do it
one by one.
Okay, one by one. Okay, do that. So just one.
We will make you work harder, Nandesh. That's what it is. We want you to work harder.
No worries. I don't mind doing that. So yeah, this part. So let's just change this, maybe the variable that's creating confusion. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take this first statement. So instead of explicitly saying Nandesh, what we will do here, we will be using input function there, and then we will say enter your name. Okay, and then we will print this out. Okay, so the student will come, they will enter their name, let's say Nandesh, and it will be shown to us. Student name is Nandesh. Okay, this part is good. Then the second part, the course. What is the course the student is learning? So we could do it in one go also. Like we could take all the input from the user in one go. What is your name? What course you are studying? Or we could do it in a sequential manner as well. So for now, let me do it in a sequentially. Then we'll do it in one go, and then it will show me. So probably we can add this. That will make a little difference. Let me make some changes with respect to these statements here. and for this course, something like this. Then again, we will use input here. Enter your course that you want to enroll in. Okay, something like this. So now if I'll run this, it'll ask me for the name. What is the name of the student? Let's say it's Nandesh. Then it'll print that out. Student name is this. Then it'll ask me, enter your course that you want to enroll. So what is the course that you are interested in that you want to enroll? Let's say I'm interested in Python. Then it will show me I am going for this course, which is Python. I mean, I could make it more complicated, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. Okay. Then I could add. So then we can show the total fee. Is the fee for this course. Okay, so then let's say the admin team or the CSR or whoever is talking to the customer, they will enter the fee. So the name will come here. So enter your name. That's the first part. The name is shown. Now, what is the course that you are enrolling in? Python course. Then, what is the fee for this course? Let's say.
Is it asking you to type that Python thing like once you do the
Yes.
control enter?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's say this is the course fee. Then, sorry, I missed adding that part. My bad. So now I'll just add it here. I'll combine it later on. So the total fee, it'll show me the total fee is
50,000.
this. Correct? And then the last statement. How much amount you've paid so far. Let me add this fee here. So instead of again paid amount like this, static value, we are just trying to make it dynamic by introducing again, input function. What is the amount that you have paid? Okay. So the total fee will enter 50,000, let's say, and then we'll enter the amount that is paid. It's like, let's say 10,000. And then we'll show the paid fee and the balance amount by introducing balance amount. How the calculation for the balance amount is going to work. But here is the problem is going to come. Here we will face some problem. This is not going to get executed. And we'll see why it's not going to get executed. Because for that, we'll have to understand data types. Okay. But anyways, let me show you. This final part, we will be getting an error. It is going to throw an error. Okay, so let's run it again, one by one. So what is your name? Enter my name, Nandesh. Then it asks me what is the course that you want to enroll. I want to enroll for Python. Then it shows me I'm going to enroll for Python course. What is the fee for this course? Let's say it's 50,000. So what is the amount that you've paid so far? Let's say I've paid 10,000. And then it will throw me an error. Why it is throwing me an error? Because there is an issue with respect to the data type, how the data is stored. So for that, we will have to understand the data type and how the conversion takes place.
Is it the hyphen like after the fees or that's not it?
No. It's So it's what is the type of data input function is going to store. So even if you are going to give it number, it is going to store it as a text. So you can imagine 50,000 is stored as a text, 10,000 is stored as a text. So now you are trying to perform the arithmetic operation on a text. So is it possible to perform arithmetic operation on text? That is not possible. So that is the reason why we are getting the error. We will fix this error later on as we progress, as we learn about typecasting operation. So for now, this we will keep it till this point. What is the total fee? And yeah, till this point. This code is going to work absolutely fine. So similar for the same example, if you were to calculate your monthly budget, or let's say if you want to calculate discount or taxes that you have to pay, this is your salary. Like we do the calculation, right? If this is my yearly package, how much I'm going to get on monthly basis. So you will have some variable component. You could create variables like my variable component is 10%. Later on, when once you learn the arithmetic operation, you subtract that 10% out of it. Then you subtract the text out of it. What is going to be the tax that I'll have to pay on monthly basis? And then at the end, it can show you what is going to be your in-hand salary on. And of course, if there are any other deductibles like which is going to, let's say, for your retirement, for your health plan, or whatever deduction that are happening. So that will finally give you what is going to be your in-hand amount. So with this, I mean, anybody can come in, they can enter their salary, they can enter if they have a variable, if there is zero variable, and what is the amount that is getting deducted for, n number of deductions. And finally, it will show them what is the final amount that they will receive on monthly basis. Hope that makes sense.
Everybody following along? Everyone okay? Nihand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reshma,
So-
you good?
So what you can do, just 1 second, just try this out on your end first. Simple thing. I'll give you simple example so that you can understand this. So let's say this example everybody will relate to. What we'll have to do, we want to take the input from the user, which is going to be what is their username, and then what is the password, and then we want to show the username and password. So how are you going to take the input for the username and the password and then going to display? Just right now in this program, you have to take an input, username, and the password, and then print it out using the input function. Then you'll be able to kind of understand this topic. So this is the final piece. You just have to add the piece with respect to the input function, how you are going to use input function over here. Hope that makes sense, right? What I'm showing you is this part. What you'll have to add this part. Okay. So yeah, let's see what will be the input so that when I execute this code, I should be getting the username and the password. Right now, if I'll try to run it, I'll be definitely getting an error because there is no variable username and password at the moment.
Because you haven't defined those yet.
Yes. So we have to take them as an input from the user. So just check it out on your side. And if you have any doubts, then do let me know. Two questions, and let me add one more. Let's take the input of file here. What else? Let me see. There are some other questions. I'm just going to straight away paste them in the chat box. You should be able to work on them, because for them there are some prerequisites which we are going to discuss, and after that you should be able to complete them. Just 1 second. All right, so there you go. I've pasted all of them in the chat. Let's try to write them. It will be lengthy. And here itself. Yeah. Okay, so these are the questions that you need to work on after the class. Okay. So let's proceed ahead. So are we good so far? Shall we move ahead? The speed is okay. You want me to repeat something, or are we good? Yes? Okay.
Yep.
Great. So let me now talk about the next concept here, which is very important. And the reason why that error was coming, it's because of the data type. So what we will discuss about now is the data type. So different type of data that can be stored within Python, and how can you check what type of data it is. So for example, yesterday we discussed I can store a variable with value 10. But what type of data it is, how Python is going to understand this as a data type. So in order to check the data type of a variable in Python, what you will have to do, you will have to use this function type. So if I want to know what is the data type of A, it will give me the data type is going to be this, which is an integer. So there are different data types that we have. If I, let's say, change this value, and what if I'll store a negative value? I'm going to store negative value, and I'm going to check what is the data type for that. So all the positive, all the negative values are going to be treated as an integer. This is the first data type, integer data type. Okay. Then there is also another data type. For example, if we were to store 5.5, 6.25. So is it still an integer? Let's see. 5.5. And let's check straight away what is the data type for that. So it is going to be a float. So all the decimal numbers, they will be treated as a float data type. Tanmay, what happened to your eyes?
The TV light is reflecting off of me. I have like a screensaver on.
Okay. So two data types we discuss, integer. In order to store number, either you can store it as an integer, which is without decimal, all the positive, negative values, all of them will be stored as an integer. If it's a decimal number, if you are performing, let's say, a division or any sort of calculation in which you will be getting some decimal numbers, so they will be stored as a float. Okay, and then another important data types. You want to store, let's say, a name, you want to store a sentence, you want to store a paragraph. So what data type that falls into? That falls into the string data type. So for now, these are the basic data types we have. There are others which we will discuss later on. So let's say we store maybe Python. So what is the data type of Python? So it is a string. So text, anything with respect to text, name, a line, a sentence, all of them are going to be treated as a string. Then there is one more. These are basically called as basic data type or primitive data types, which are very basic. Then one more, which is true and false. Let's say I store a boolean, which is true, either true and false. And if I check what is the type for this, so it will be boolean. So these are the four basic data types. We have integer for all the numbers, positive, negative numbers. Then if we talk about the decimal numbers, they will be stored as a float. And if we talk about the string, they will be, the text, name, sentence, paragraph, anything. It will be stored as a string. And then true and false, which is going to be stored as a boolean. So they will be useful when we are going to use certain conditions. Let's say I want to check maybe 5 is equal to 5. Is it true or false? 5 is equal to 7. Is it true or false? So as we move along, when we build conditions, this is where the Boolean data types are going to come into picture, because those results are going to decide our next flow, which part of the code is going to get executed later on as we proceed ahead. So any doubt with respect to these data types? Because now we are going to talk about the operations that we can perform with respect to these data types. Are we good with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about the arithmetic operators. So when it comes to your numbers, you would want to definitely perform some arithmetic operations on them. So let's talk about that. Thinking about now. Arithmetic operators. So we have different arithmetic operators like positive, subtraction, addition, multiplication. Then you have division. You have floor division. And you also have this modulus. So how they are different from each other, let's try to understand them one by one. So that is the reason we discussed yesterday, right? We cannot use special symbols within the variable name because they have some significance. So if you try to use this in a variable, it has a significance. This part of the arithmetic operators. Okay, so let me help you with some examples with respect to some programs. So let's say what I want to do, I want to write a program, add two numbers. So if I have to make that happen, how I can do that? So let's say I'll say number 1 is equal to maybe 52. Number 2 is equal to 53. Then I'll do the sum. The sum of that will be number 1 plus number 2. So same the way you will do the arithmetic operation on a regular, let's say, piece of notebook. Same approach is going to be followed here with the help of this arithmetic operation. So what's going to happen behind the scene? It's going to take up the number 52 plus 53, and then it is going to store the value. Whatever is going to be the value, in this case 105, is going to be stored inside S. And then what we can do, we can print what is the sum. The sum of two numbers is, and then we can show what is the sum of two numbers. So it will show me what is the sum of two numbers. Again, you can make this program more interesting by introducing input, but for that, one more concept is required. Then you will be able to make this program where the user can come in, enter the value, and the addition is going to take place. For now, if you will try to do it, it will give you completely different operations, because how plus or how the addition is going to take place when you are dealing with numbers and when you introduce a string, then there will be a difference that you will see. which we will talk about in some time. So don't try to use input for now while adding the numbers. Only use this approach. If you want to use input, we'll see how that can be introduced, what changes we'll have to do for that. Okay, so similarly, if we were to add now, simple example. Now what you need to do, you need to write a program to add 3 numbers. So can you do that? Write a program to add 3 numbers.
So I guess what would be the difference between like this and like the variables? Isn't this the same thing of like just adding, like having defining this as a variable?
It's a variable, right? We are using the variable only. We are talking about we have a value stored in a variable, how and what operations we can perform on them.
Okay.
These are nothing but your variables only.
Okay.
So all these concepts are connected with each other. Variable is not a separate concept altogether. We are using variable. Within the variable, we are storing the integer values, and then on those integer value, I'm trying to show you the arithmetic operations. Okay, so you'll have to now write a program to add 3 numbers. Pretty straightforward, like what I have done. You just have to make a small change, and then you should be getting the results. Yeah, oops, thank you. All right, so everyone is able to do it. Amisha, are you able to do it? Amisha, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm doing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to do. I will show you once it's complete.
Yeah, so you can paste the code in the chat once it is done. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's proceed ahead. So this is one of the arithmetic operators. There are others. So similarly, if you were to add 4 numbers, 5 numbers, 6 number, whatever the number is, you should be able to do the addition operation on them. Right. So let's continue with the next arithmetic operator. It's going to be this. But before that, let me just do one thing, because you might be wondering how this can be done with the help of input. Or if we are doing this manually like this, can we make this automated, or how that will be done? So let's see. So for that, let me introduce you this concept. Okay. So if I am going to store a number like this, and if I check what is the type, so it will show me it's an integer. But what if I store the number in this format within the double quotes? Same number, but it is within the double quotes. And then I check for the type. Can you see? Now, what is the type?
String.
Because string. The data type is string. I hope you're able to read this, right? Because it is stored within the single quote or double quote, the data type will change. Now the data type is a string. So if I were to introduce the input function there, correct? With respect to input, if I'll use the same code, and if I'll just change it to the input, let's say input, and then I say, please enter, please enter your first number. Okay, so it will give me a number, and similarly, we'll add one more. Second number. If I'll try to run it, let's say 52, same number we are going to use, 53. Can you see the result? What's happening? 52, 53 combined. So this tells you what? This tells you if you are going to use a string, let's say like this, 52, yeah, and 53. And then if you try to perform the same operation, which is arithmetic operation on the string, will be not able to do the addition. But what it will do something called as concatenation. If I try to print S here, it is simply going to combine these two together. So it's like name, first name, last name. If you try to combine them, what you will get? First name, last name combined. So it's treating these numbers as a text and then combining them. And only this is the arithmetic operation that is going to work when you are dealing with the text. If you try for, let's say, subtraction, that is not going to work. If you try for multiplication, that is not going to work. Only addition is going to work. And that too, how addition is going to work, we just saw. It will do the concatenation, means it will combine these two strings together. So now, if I want this to be treated as an integer, although it is stored as a string, but I want this to be treated as an integer. So how
One
I
question.
can? Mhm.
I like how you said to put in numbers, right? So I did like for the first number I did 90, the second number I did 90, then it showed up as 9090 instead of 180.
Correct, because it's stored as a string. It's going to do the concatenation. It's combining those two numbers. So like I said,
Okay. Got you.
if you say,
Okay.
let's say first name, let's say Mandesh, it's doing this, right? Combining these string.
Yeah.
That's how
Okay.
string works, right? So it's treating them as a text. Although they are numbers, but it does not matter to the Python. It's treating them as a
I see.
text. But we don't want it to do this thing. We want to override this operation. So how can we make that happen? So let's say the user is giving us as a string, but we want to convert this to an integer. So for that, we have to convert this to an
So
integer.
Nandesh, whatever the inputs we are given, that is stored as a string. Do you mean like this?
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Yes, I was going to come to that point only. So if you go to this, let's say in this case, let's take one example here. And then let's check what is the type of N1. If I give this 52,
Yep.
Can you check what is the type? So the input function is always going to take your input in the form of string. Although let's say you give here 5.5, this will still treat this as a string. So this is the
Because we're
behavior.
adding input to it.
Yes, because I'm using input function. So this is the behavior of input function, that always it is going to accept your input as a string. Even if it is a string, even if it is a number, even it is, let's say, a decimal number, all of them will be treated as a string, even if it is true and false. All of them will be treated as a string. So how can we fix that? Can we convert a string to number? Can we convert a string to some other data type? Is it possible? Yes. So we call that as type casting. Okay, so I want to convert my string into an integer. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. How is it possible? With the help of typecasting operations. So I go back to the same example. I have this number stored as a string. I want this to be stored as an integer. How I will make that happen? So I will say number2 is equal to int n1. So I am simply passing integer 1 int. what will happen? It will be converted now to one number. So now let me just print what is type of N1 and what is type of N2. I have to do it in a second line actually. It will not work in the same line. Sorry. Second. Yeah. Can you see now? The type of N1 is a string because it is stored as a string. But when we did this, when we perform the typecasting operation, so with the help of that, it is going to be converted into an integer. Does that make sense? So now, if I go back to my code, if I want to fix this, how can we fix this? Can you try fixing this part? That instead of doing this 52 plus 53, it should not be giving me 52, 53.
Convert as
Instead
into
of,
integer.
sorry?
Convert as is into integer.
Correct. So just do it on your side and then we'll see the results. Let's see if you're able to do it. If not, then I'll show you. You'll have to fix this code so that we should be getting the actual addition, not the string concatenation, which is happening at the moment. This should be the ideal result, not this one. Think about it like how I did the conversion over here. See, it's the same approach. How I did the conversion here. Look at this code. Same kind of change you will have to make within the code. Then the issue is going to be fixed. Just give it a try. Yes. But you are doing multiplication here.
I want to do something different.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is the approach. Let me just show to everyone. So yeah, so the first number is, let's say, 5. Second number is also 5. So yeah, we are getting the result 25. So same thing if we were to kind of replace this with addition, 52 plus 53 should work. Okay, so this is the easier way of doing it. Yes, Nishan?
Oh, sorry. Can I share my code as well?
Yeah, please go on. We are using 3 numbers. Yeah, this also fine. Correct. So yes.
So
That's
first you have
correct.
to define the input, and then once you figure out what the input is, you have to figure out what type it will be.
Hmm.
So that's how the chain
Right.
goes, basically.
Correct, correct. Absolutely. That, yes, absolutely. So you know that this is not an integer, it's a string.
Mhm.
But you want this to be stored as an integer. So definitely you have to convert this to a integer, right? So either you could use the same variable or you could use a different variable like you have done. You've created a different variable and then you are using it. If I were to simplify this.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
mean by same variable? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to show you. So this is the simplest approach, how you are going to visualize it in your mind. The first step is we take the input, it's stored as a string. Then the second step for the conversion is convert that string into an integer. But can we do it in one go? What I'm trying to say, take the input and at the same time convert that input, which is a string, into an integer. That's what I'm saying. So instead of having this additional step here, can I do it in the same step itself? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so how that will be happening, let's see. Let me just take this code once again. So we just have to add int at the start. So it is a function And every function is going to start with the bracket opening and close. Opening bracket, closing bracket. Same thing here, int, opening bracket, closing bracket. And now let's see what happens. 52 plus 53. Are we getting the expected result? Yes. So this is what I mean, storing the value in the same variable itself. So that means what you are doing this. I mean, if I were to change your code, let's see if we can make some changes here. N1, N2, then N1, and okay. Now let's check. 5, 10. So what are we doing over here? This is the overriding your existing variable. We discussed this point yesterday, right? The variable is going to look up for the most recent execution. It is going to override the existing value. The existing value was string number, but now we are overwriting that with the input. So you are doing this in multiple steps. I am doing this within a same step itself. That's the only difference. But it's doing the same thing. So for the visualization perspective, if you want to visualize step by step, this is the right approach. But if you talk about, let's say, doing it in the optimized manner, this will be the right approach. Hope that makes sense. Yes. Shall we proceed ahead? So this is one of the arithmetic operations. So similarly, we have other arithmetic operations. Okay, so let's talk about the other arithmetic operations now. Any doubt before we go there? Are we all on the same page? Are we good? If any doubt, please let me know.
I had one question. A while ago we got all the reserved keywords, right? So why are all these in print or int, float? These are not included in those. Can we use these?
No, you can't. Basically, these are also part of the reserved list. But it is a library, so maybe they have not added it. But these are basically the primitive data types, which are the basic data types. All the other data types that we are going to discuss, they are derived out of these. Okay. So definitely they have some significance, so we cannot use them. Okay. So okay. Yeah. So let's proceed ahead.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, please go on.
May I share the content once?
Yeah, please. You are pasting it in the chat or you are sharing your screen?
So may I share the screen?
Okay. Please go on.
So I have debugged this, but still it is saying the sum 2.
Okay. So can somebody debug this code? Why he's not getting the expected result? What is the issue here?
Because S is equal to N3 plus N4 usually.
There is an issue with respect to the variables. Yeah.
In S he used N1 and N2, but he should use N3 and 4.
Correct. You have to use a new variable with the type conversion. N3 plus N4. No, not equal to N3 plus. You're doing the arithmetic operation, right? Addition. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now run the code. Now it should be working. And Natik, keep your video on. If possible, try to keep your video on.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it works now. Thank you. Okay. So let me share my screen again. So this was one of the arithmetic operation, like we said. Now let's discuss the other arithmetic operations. Okay, so we'll quickly talk about them. Let's say same variable will take n1 is equal to maybe 5 and 8. Yeah, that works. So the first operation that we saw, that was addition. It gives you the output. If you talk about the subtraction, let's say n1 minus n2, pretty straightforward. If I were to, let's say, do n2 minus n1, we'll get minus 12. So same approach what we follow in arithmetic, same approach will be followed here. Then the multiplication, n1 multiplied by n2, same approach. But the differentiation will come when we will use the division. When we go for division here, what is the difference? So you see there are two type of division that we have. Just 1 second. Let me just show you that now. Let's say 4 instead of 5, because the division is going to take place here. Yeah. Okay. So now if I were to divide this, you remember the numbers, right? 15, 4. Okay. So now I'm going to go for the division. So n1 by n2. So what I'm trying to do here, if I were to show you, so I'm just saying 15 by 4. So what will be the result? Can somebody help me with the result?
3 point something.
Okay, so let's see. So 3.75, that's correct. If this number was, let's say, 3, then what will be the result?
5.
So is it going to be 5 or 5.0?
5.0.
Let's see. So do you see what I'm trying to indicate? The result that you will get, what is the data type of that result? It's a float. So although the division is going to take place, the absolute division, still the result that you will get always going to be a float. Does that make sense? That's the part 1. Now let's say what you are looking for, if you will go for this operation, n1 divided by n2. So let me change this again. Okay, let's keep it 3 only. Then we'll see the difference. For now, it's 3. Let's see what we get. We are getting 5. What is this 5 indicating here?
Int.
Right. And what if I'll go for, let's say, 4? Then what are we going to get? 3. So do you see the difference?
It kind of rounds up the number, or
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
It is leaving out the decimal.
Correct. It is going to round the number to the nearest whole number. That is the difference. I hope you got it.
But
So
won't the nearest whole number be 4 instead of 3? Oh no,
Yeah.
the whole number. Okay, yeah, okay, see. Never mind.
the whole number we're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
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 Can you go up? What was the number you used for N1 and N2?
Yeah, let me just
15 and
this
4.
cell. Yeah, let's just add it here. So let's see the difference. So we'll use 3 first, then we'll see the result. 5. Let's see the result here. Okay. It's giving you float. It is giving you the 5 only, integer. When the absolute division is happening, there is no remainder. Now, what if there is going to be a remainder and we will be getting a float? If you want that value, the float value, exact value, you should go for this division. But if you want the rounded up number, then you will go for this. Make sense? Then there is one more arithmetic operation, which is called as modulus. Okay, this is called as, this is your normal division. We call it simply division. The division. This is basically called as floor division. Okay, floor division. So, okay. Then there is one more operation which we call as modulus. So, sometime you might want to return the remainder. What if, let's keep it simple for now, let's say 5 by 2. What will be the remainder of that?
1.
Correct. So I want 1 as a result. I don't want 2.5. I don't want 2. I want 1 as a remainder. So how can we make that happen? So for that, we have to use the modulus operator, which is this. So if I'll do it, then I will be getting the remainder. So modulus will give you the remainder. Then we also follow this in arithmetic. We say 5 raised to the power 2, 5 raised to the power 3, 10 raised to the power 2. We call it exponential. So how can we do the same operation over here? Exponentiation, we call it, or exponent of. So in simple term, raised to the power. So if I say 5 raised to the power, what is 5 raised to the power 2?
25.
So we should be getting 25 as a result. Hope that makes sense to everyone. Any doubt with this?
Could you explain the module part again? The N1 percentage of N2. What is? Could you explain that?
Modulus. This is going to give you the remainder. If you will do the division of 5 by 2, what will be the remainder that you will get?
5 by 2, 2.5.
The remainder part. Okay, so let me just, I think I have to show the calculation to you then. Just 1 second. Okay, so let's say how you will do the calculation. You will do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of you might not be able to kind of recall, but yeah, let's try. So this will get divided by 4.
Yeah.
Right? That's the number. So we will have 2 here. Then what is the remainder?
1. Oh, okay.
This is the remainder.
Okay.
So for the floor division, how did you get 2?
So it basically rounds it up, right? It does not gives you, again, it, for example, if you go further, we get 2.5, but it is going to round that up. And then it gives you only the 2. Round it up to the
So
nearest
wouldn't
number.
that be 3?
No, integer we are talking about, right? The nearest integer, it will be 2.
Whole integer. So that's why I had the confusion as well.
Yeah, the whole integer.
Whatever is close to the whole number rather than the.
Yeah, correct. If it gives you 3, then the calculation is totally messed up, right? If it gives you 3.
So if it's 3.9, you'll be 3.
So 3.9. Any division where 3.9s come? Test it out.
For floor division, I think he's asking.
Yeah, for the floor division, yeah. 3.9. Yeah, we can check that later on. Yeah. So I hope these functions are clear. I mean, these arithmetic operations are clear now.
Yeah.
So with the help of these, you should be able to now solve these questions that I've given you. Calculate the length, the product price, the salary, and all of that. Correct? Yep. So just 1 second.
And for the exposition, like you had like 2 symbols added, right?
Yes.
Like the 2 signs.
Yes. Yes. So this is 5 raised to the power 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we can do, I can write a simple program just to help you out here. Or we can try this now. One of the program at least. This program. We have to write a program to find the area of the rectangle. So we have to take an input from the user, which is the length, the breadth. Then we will calculate the area of the rectangle, and then we will show the area of the rectangle. So which arithmetic operation you are going to use here? Just try that out. You have to take them as an input. The length, the breadth, calculate the area, and then you can display what is the area of the rectangle. Everyone. This point we need to kind of remember that we add this in the next line. If that's creating confusion. If we talk about the result of the floor division, it's always going to give you the largest whole number less than or equal to the actual divisor result. So the example, the instance that we were discussing, even if it was 3.9, still the result is not going to be 4, it will be 3. It will be always less than. Hope that makes sense. It is not going to round it up to the upper value, that is the floor value. It will be the ceiling value. It will be rounding up to the floor value. Let me do one thing. Let me just share this notebook with you so that all the code that I'm writing, you are able to access all the code. So this is the notebook that I'm going to use for the whole Python session. All the code you will be able to find within a single notebook itself. Like I'll create subsections with respect to day 1 and day 2 and all. But you'll be able to find everything here itself. You don't have to go for search for multiple notebooks. In your case, it's up to you how you want to manage. You want to create multiple notebooks or a singular one. In my case, I'll be just following one notebook, which is having all the code. Okay, so are you able to solve this program? Find the area of a rectangle.
Yeah,
Yes.
can I share my screen? Sorry.
You can paste the code in the chat. I can check it here. Misha, are you there? Are you able to solve that first program? Because I could not see the code from your side in the chat. Okay, so let's see. So what is the length of the rectangle? The width. Rectangle? You have length, width, and height.
Why is there 2 inputs? I'm a little confused.
That's why I'm confused. Why there are three? Why there are 3 inputs? I'm confused. Why there are 3 inputs?
It's a cuboid.
Talking about area, I mean rectangle here. Rectangle is a 2D. How can you have a height in 2D? Length and width is going to be there.
Oh, sorry. I was just yeah.
Okay. But yeah, the logic is
No,
correct.
I meant the 2 input meaning like the input that he's added like twice, not the length with height, an actual command.
Where is it added twice? I don't see. Can you
So
just
like
point me to the
it says like the int and then it's input, right?
int is an integer, integer conversion. The type conversion is happening here.
Okay, sorry.
It's doing the type conversion.
It's about time.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So let me just go to another part. Yes. Correct. So enter the length, enter the width. This is the area. Correct. So if let's say 10, 15, yeah, 150 is the area. So like you can see there is no space that's coming. So maybe just to beautify this, what you can do is like this. You can add a space there. Maybe add a hyphen within the quotes and then add a space so that when somebody enters a value, it's clearly readable. So now it shows you like this. Okay, it does not make any difference, but just for the readability purpose. Okay, so this is how you will be calculating the area of a rectangle, of a square, the same approach. If it was a triangle, then things would have been a little different. Okay, so these questions that I gave you, you can try out these questions with using the input and then combination of the different arithmetic operations that we have discussed. All right, so today, if I were to recap what we discussed today, we talked about, we kind of discussed a little bit about the variable creation and what are the rules for creating a variable. So when it comes to variable creation, the variable should always be having a meaningful name for the purpose of reusability, for the code reusability. Always use lowercase letters. Use underscore between the words. Don't use space. The variable cannot start with a number and you cannot use the Python reserved keywords. That's something we discussed. And then we talked about input function. So if you were to take input from the user, how can you take input from the user? And the input function is always going to store this input as a string, as a text. So we talked about type conversion. And before that, we discussed there are different data types that we have. We discussed the primitive data types, such as your integer, your string, your float value, and then you have your Boolean as well. And then we talked about how can you combine these two together, converting string data type to an integer. The same thing can be happening like if you want to convert this to, let's say, integer to float, float value, float to an integer, that can be done. Or integer to string, that can also be done. Right. So we talked about the type conversion, and then we talked about, most importantly, the different arithmetic operators that we have, the different operation that you can perform with respect to your arithmetics, your addition, subtraction, multiplication, and in division. In division, we had 3 different types of operators, right, which will give you different sorts of results.